When we say it, we speak it. Point blank, cause believe me, we mean it. Point blank, if you watch us, you see it. Point blank to the Lord Almighty, point blank.
Alright.
I wasn't born to be settled.
Hallelujah. Brand new program, I take over. Hosted by Lisa and Erika.
Till you make it.
For the future. If you don't want watch it, we no care, disappear. We talk straight, no go round thing, we no fear. God is the protector around here. Point blank, I take over the atmosphere.
When we say it, we speak it. Point blank, just believe me.
Hi, this is Lisa.
I'm Erika.
Welcome to Point Blank.
Today we're going to be talking about
Infertility. It affects 1 in 8 couples who are trying to conceive or sustain a pregnancy.
there's some of the causes of fertility are infertility are blocked fallopian tubes due to inflammation of the pelvic region. Sometimes there can be disease, endometriosis. It also could be a surgery for ectopic pregnancy, and some physical causes with the uterus, uterine fibroids, and PCOS.
So we're just going to share with you our infertility struggles, to share our story, and hopefully we're able to provide a little bit more information and give you an insight if it is happening to you as well.
Yeah, so I guess I will start. What I've struggled with since forever, since I can remember, since I started getting a menstrual cycle, was uterine fibroids. Yeah, and it's actually something that is very common. About 30% of women will get fibroids by the time they're 35, and about 80% will get it by the time they're 50. Also, which pertains to me, Black women are more likely to get to have uterine fibroids, especially at a younger age. The definition of what a uterine fibroid is, off of my phone here. Fibroids are abnormal growths that develop in or on a woman's uterus. Sometimes these tumors become quite large and cause severe abdominal pain and heavy periods. In other cases, they cause no symptoms at all. The growths are typically benign or non-cancerous, and the cause of fibroids is unknown. So for me, my story is when I got married, which I got married later in life. I was 36, and I had my daughter. I was pregnant with her at 39, and so that was, I had 2 huge fibroids. One is bigger than the other. It hadn't yet gone into the uterus, it was just outside of the uterus. But however, because of my age and everything, and at the time my husband also was living in Jamaica, I wasn't sure about how hard it would be for me to become pregnant, and was told that it might be a bit difficult for that to happen. Fortunately for me, once my husband did get here, it was 3 years for him to come over here to Canada. He landed on December 19th of 2017, and basically, I had my child on my daughter in October of 2018. So pretty much I got pregnant within the week of him getting here, so I was pretty lucky.
Welcome home, honey.
Exactly. But after my pregnancy though, the fibroid did grow bigger. I did have to have surgery to have it removed from the uterus, because my doctor did tell me that if I wanted to have another pregnancy, which we do want to have more kids, that trying to have a child with that uterine fibroid there, it would be really difficult. So so we're trying to conceive a second child right now, and hopefully that's gonna happen soon. So I had that surgery. I did have a bit of complications, like I was hemorrhaging. I actually woke up in bed and just saw all this blood and just had to tell my husband to call the ambulance and stuff, and I wasn't hospitalized. It was really scary, which is weird, and they never gave me any blood or anything, but I did get hydromorphone for the pain and some fluids and everything. So far things seem to be back to normal. My periods are, they're still heavy because they always have been, but they're a bit more regular than they had been before I was pregnant, because it was like surprise every time I was pregnant, every time it was like I was having my period. I never really knew when it was gonna come, and some days it would be 3 days, some days it would be like 10. So it was very frustrating and very, very painful. Just couldn't really wear white, that's for sure. So that's kind of where I am right now with that. Lisa?
So right now I'm dealing I was just diagnosed with PCOS. And what PCOS is it's a condition that affects women's hormone levels. Women with PCOS produce higher than normal amounts of male hormones. So it leads to a hormonal imbalance, which causes us to skip our menstrual period. So we don't get our period every month. So it's harder to get pregnant when you're not having your period and you're not ovulating an egg, right? So my whole story was, me and my husband, when we've been married, we got married in 2016. And then right after we got married, we just decided to have a serious talk about having kids, probably in 2018. So we could enjoy life a little bit more. So around 2018, we had a serious talk about trying and focusing on wanting to have children. So we ended up going away on our honeymoon to Bora Bora in November of 2018. And then when we got back, I just thought I caught a bug or something. I just wasn't feeling good. I started getting cramps and I was feeling nauseated, and I just brushed it off as because we were just traveling, you know what I mean? 12 hours. And I just thought maybe I just caught something. So I tried to brush it off, but then all of a sudden I got this excruciating pain, and it just felt like somebody stabbing me in the stomach. I couldn't breathe. I could barely sit down. So I ended up going to the doctor, and of course they asked you all of those questions. Are you pregnant? Are you trying? So they rushed me in, and when I was sitting there and I was trying to pee in a cup, which I couldn't because I was in so much pain, so the only thing I could focus on was the pain that I was going through. I looked at my husband and I said, oh my gosh, I'm like, what? A miscarriage. Because at that point, I wasn't bleeding or anything, because I thought having a miscarriage, a regular miscarriage, you would just be bleeding.
Yeah, hemorrhaging a lot.
Right? And then you would just know because it's heavier and there's FYI. TMI, but too much clots or whatever.
Right.
And then, so the doctor came in and I was able to finally pee after I drank some water. And then he said, yep, you're pregnant. He's like, but it's not going to be a viable pregnancy. And I think at that point, me and my husband, our mouths just dropped open. We were so shocked. It was just kind of like a movie. We probably could have just picked up our jaws. And he just said, yeah, I'm just going to send you in for some testing. I'm going to refer you to OBGYN. Yeah, OBGYN. And then just go from there. But basically, he just told us it wasn't viable at all. and that I was about 4 weeks along, so I was actually pregnant before we went on our honeymoon. And to be honest, I didn't really feel any different. I felt like I normally do. I usually go to bed early and I don't really drink that much, so for me it wasn't anything different.
Right.
So then when I did get the ultrasound scanned, they saw a sac, but there was nothing in it. So then when I got some more testing done, and I got the news on Christmas Day that because my OBGYN was trying to give me progesterone pills to see if it would stick. And she was really positive and thinking that things were going good. She was just trying to give us hope, right?
Right.
And it's hard, right? Because when you're trying to have a baby, you think everything is easy and smooth sailing.
Yeah, you do.
And so when we found out we weren't, it was really tough. I'm glad that it was only 4 weeks, so it was just a cluster of cells and not an actual baby that's like 5 or 6 months growing in my body.
Right.
So at that point, I had to get surgery. So what I had was an ectopic pregnancy, so where the baby was growing in the fallopian tube and your body just rejects it and you're just in severe pain. So I had ectopic on my right side. It was in my right tube. So I got surgery to remove that tube because it was so damaged. And then when I went in for surgery to get it removed, he went in and checked my left tube to make sure that it wasn't blocked. And then he took a look inside my uterus to make sure that everything was clear and it was looking good. So that's been a few months now. So really it's been 6 months since I had surgery, and they just look like little bullet holes. They insert a camera through your belly button, and then where your tubes are, they insert a camera. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes, and they're all healed now. They're just little scar tissues. And it's awful actually, because when you're trying to get up from bed, you use your whole body to push yourself up. And I felt like an invalid. I couldn't get myself up. And every time I did get up, it would be another struggle to stand up, right?
Yeah.
And then to go to the bathroom and bend down as well was,
oh gosh,
terrible.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm good to go. And right now I am on currently my 3rd round of Clomid. So Clomid, it just blocks the receptors in your brain, just telling your body that you have low estrogen so that you produce more estrogen. And it just kind of forces you to ovulate. Usually it works for most women between, you ovulate between cycle day 10 and 20, and it forces you to have a period, so you would have as many chances of getting pregnant if you were to have a regular period. So with this, I find there's a little side effects. I take the pills at night. You take it from days 2 to 7, or starting on cycle day 3, just depends on what your doctor wants. So you take the days for 5 consecutive days at the same time. And then for me, I just notice sometimes I get a little headache from it, and I get hot sweats when I'm sleeping, but I do take it at night because I read that if you do take it at night, it just minimizes the symptoms a little bit because you sleep through it. So right now I am on my 3rd cycle. I did ovulate on my first 2 cycles confirmed by the blood test, and also my OvuSense, which I'll show you in a second here. Right now I'm on my 3rd cycle. I am on the lowest dosage, which is 50 milligrams, which is really good because then they don't have to hike it up, and the more they put in, the higher the prescription, the more side effects you're gonna have. Right. So right now I am using something called OvuSense to track my temperature, my core temperature, so I know when I'm ovulating, or if I am ovulating, it lets me know. So it's really cool. So it's it's really personal. But anyways, since we're talking about it, it's going to be TMI anyway. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a tampon, basically, with tail. So
Yeah.
you insert this in.
It looks like a little sperm.
Yeah, it looks like a little sperm. So you insert this inside your vagina every night before you go to bed, and it reads your body temperature. It's really cool. So it reads your body temperature in the morning. You pull it out, you wash it, and then you download the app on your phone, and then you scan it into the app, and it's really cool. So it'll show you to see if we can try to track it or find some sort of regular pattern with it.
Right.
So this is really great for that, especially if your periods are really irregular. I mean, since I was 14, and my periods have always been irregular, so it's not, it's really common for me to skip 2-3 months. Even one time I even didn't have my period for 6 months.
Wow.
And for me, that was normal, right? So
Yeah.
I've always gone on BC pills to regulate my hormones, but since I met Ryan, I just kind of went off of it. And then, yeah, so Obvisense is great. I mean, the packages, they start from anywhere from $169 to $400. I did find a coupon on their Instagram for 15% off, so maybe just check that to see if there's any discount codes.
Yeah.
Really, it just amounts to like what, $30 or $40 a month to track it if you have a hard time tracking it and using, like, if you can't use OPKs or the fertility monitors that are out right now, if those aren't cutting it for you. Yeah, try Obvisense. I mean, it's great because you can do natural cycles or medicated cycles, which I'm on. And it just kind of gives you a chart so you can kind of just get to know your body a little bit more, especially if it's all over the place. So I find it really, really helpful for that. So I think our plan is after this third round of Clomid, we are going to go see our fertility specialist. And then at that point, I think we're going to try maybe letrozole, which is almost like Clomid, but it's in and out of your body. It doesn't stay in your body like Clomid does. For 6 months, and then I think after, if letrozole doesn't work, then we're gonna look into IVF, because really, I mean, right now I am not a young duckling. I am 37 and I'll be 38 in 2 months. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm ready now. I can't imagine being mother in my 20s just because of where I was in my life. I was like party girl and just
goodness, no.
Not ready for any of that. So I mean, now I think it's normal for women to have kids over 40.
Yeah.
Just because there's just so much technology out there. You can get your eggs frozen. Mm-hmm. There's IVF, there's surrogate mother. There's so much that you can do. So if you want to be a mom, there's so many options. You can adopt as well.
Yep.
There's lots of venues. Try it out.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So I mean, that's just our infertility struggle right now, because we are both trying to have kids at the same time. We're on the same page, and like, I notice pregnant women everywhere. Ever since I've had my ectopic, I notice pregnant women everywhere, or like movies and music that mention babies.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that I have baby brain,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I know God showed me in a dream that I'm gonna get pregnant, so I'm not really too worried about it. I think society just, it puts a pressure on you. Like, if you don't have a kid by the time you're 35, it's game over. But really, it's not. It's actually up to God.
It's up to God, and there's
and just
so
your
much
determination and how bad you want it.
Well, yeah, there's so much out there now. Women are having babies later and later in life. People who are 50, mm-hmm. who are like 80 actually too, have had babies. I mean, I wouldn't personally want to have a baby at 80, but it's not like before where it was like, oh, your biological clock is ticking and you better get on that right away. I mean, yeah, I just, like Lisa said, I was not ready in my 20s at all. Like, I didn't meet my husband till my late 30s, first of all. Mm-hmm. Second of all, like, there's just no way. I was way too focused on what fun I was having and trying to forge a career path for myself and just try to just find myself, really, I would say. So that would not have been really a good thing for me. I forgot to mention too, with my story of going, like of how I found out that I was pregnant and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know, I just felt different, and like TMI, like my pee, I was like, it looks like it's fertilized, and just, I don't know, and I was just feeling different, like I never had like the tingling breasts or whatever when I was menstruating, and that was happening, and my breasts were feeling tender, and I don't know, I just felt different. And so yeah, I took like 4 tests and they all said pregnant, and that I was
like, did you cry? Did you scream? Like, what were you doing? Like, was your mom there?
No, I didn't tell my mom till like I knew for sure, because we were already seeing my OBGYN at the time, just because I wanted to get pregnant, so I was seeing her because of the previous uterine fibroids. I just told Peter, and I was like, that's my husband, and I kind of was in shock, in awe. I was excited, but also there was a part of me that was kind of scared too, and like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. And you know, in my faith, it wouldn't matter what, you know, like I wouldn't have an abortion at the time either, so I knew that we're having this child. But also the fear was coming in too of, you know, is this going to be a viable pregnancy? Am I going to be able to carry to term? Mm-hmm. And is anything going to go wrong?
Yeah, is there anything wrong? Is there going to be something wrong with the baby?
Right.
Like, there's just so many fears that rise up, right?
Exactly.
Especially when you had so much trouble getting pregnant.
Yeah.
I think all those fears just come up, and you're just worried that something's just going to go wrong, right?
Oh, for sure.
And then you have, well, the sad thing is, you know, there's people who are more than ready to be parents, and they're going to be great parents, and there's people that, you know, have a one-night stand or something, and they get pregnant, and they get an abortion, and it's just, life is just unfair, and that's just the way it is, right? The people who really want children sometimes don't get that opportunity to be parents, right. Or it's just so much harder for them because they're dealing with all sorts of infertility. And then there's people who don't want children, who are making them left and right, and they're just dropping them off or just aborting them.
Yeah.
So infertility is a serious issue among women. I think for me, the biggest thing was like when I had to make the decision to get my tube removed or not because it was so damaged. It made me question myself as a woman, that if God created women to bear children, then what was wrong with me? Why wouldn't my body cooperate? And I was just so heartbroken over that, I think.
Yeah.
Because you think when you want to have kids, when, you know, you meet your husband, you're Prince Charming, and then you get married, and then you want to have kids, that it would just be really easy.
No one tells you all the issues that can come along with it, and how it's not like just like that, like you decide to have a child and like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is what it is, but it's not easy sometimes. And I think, especially if you've been married for a while, right? Everybody asks you like, oh, are you guys having kids? Because they don't see any kids yet, and they don't realize the struggle that you're going through. So maybe just be a little bit more sensitive if you know that there's, you know, people out there or couples that you know that have been married for a while. And I mean, if you ask once or twice, it's fine. But I think always asking somebody when you see them. Sometimes people have different goals and priorities. Some people don't want kids.
Yep.
Some people just want to be free, and they're just happy loving everybody else's kids, you know?
Right. Being auntie to
exactly.
everybody else's,
So,
or uncle. Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's hard when we're getting asked all the time, especially from like my family, my like aunts and uncles and stuff like that. They're always asking like, oh, when are you guys having kids? Every single time, every Christmas or every get together, mm-hmm. or it's a lot of their friends as well. And you know what? Like, yes, we do want to have kids and we're working on it, but sometimes it's not on our timing that it's happening. We just have to wait until it's God's timing. But in the meantime, maybe just be a little bit more sensitive to that, right?
Yeah.
People are going through struggles just because it's not really visible, that you don't know what kind of struggles they're going through. And infertility is a really big one between couples.
Right.
Now I feel like everybody I know is pregnant right now. And I'm really happy for them. I mean, it is a little tough. It's a little sensitive for me. But all I know is that we are going to go see the specialist and then just go from there and just do what we can, because we want to be parents. And whether we adopt or whether we have our own, we will be parents. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, if you want something, there should be nothing stopping you.
Agreed. And I've told Lisa too that I feel that, you know, through our faith, I feel that God is using her for, like, kind of to show that it is possible. Because when she does get pregnant and she only has the one fallopian tube, I feel like that is in itself a miracle. I mean, getting pregnant is a miracle, but especially with those challenges. So I've told her that I just see God doing that for her, because it's like to show his glory to people. So
Yeah, and I think when you've worked harder for something, or it's taken you a long time, or you've been through a lot of struggles to get there, that the end will be so much more beautiful and worth it.
Yeah.
Because we're struggling with this. So I think when we do have a child and when I do get pregnant, that we're just going to appreciate so much more than if I was to get pregnant right away and then have the baby, because of the struggles we've gone through. It's actually brought us closer, and there's just so much more that we've found out, that we know about our bodies and how it works and how amazing everything is, from, you know, how amazing God is for creating everything.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I'm not too worried. I mean, it's just like all the testing, and I hate getting my blood test, because the whole time during the ectopic, I felt like they took my blood every day, and I can't watch them when they take my blood. I always have to put my hand out, and then I turn and I look at the clock, or I count while they stab me. So that's...
And I hate how they ask you if you're okay. It's like, yes, I'm okay, but I'm like trying to get into my head or think about something else. So you acknowledging me like that is just making me know that you're drawing blood out of my body.
Yeah. I can't watch. And the last lady I had was like, she was really rough with me. Like, she just like stabbed me really hard. And usually after they draw my blood, it's not really sore, you know, like they put the little cotton pad on and tell you to take it off in 10 to 15 minutes. But my arm was like sore for like 2 days, because I felt like she just
jabbed
was like a beast, and she just stabbed my vein and then just took the blood out. And like, I was like trying to make small talk with her, and she was having none of it. She didn't even say anything to me. She just looked at me and asked me to spell my name, and the whole time was just like, so.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a nice review. I didn't get her again, so I'm okay. So if you are taking blood for
you're
people,
a medical health care professional, please be a professional and actually care.
Be gentle.
Yes, and I can say that because I do work in medical health care, and it amazes me at the fact that there's some people who, they go into certain professions, and it is supposed to be about the patient or the customer or whoever, and there's such a lack of empathy towards people. You have no idea why people are coming in for those tests, or you know, if you're talking to someone on the phone and you have to get some information, you don't know if they just got a diagnosis yesterday that they have a terminal illness, or their husband passed away, or their child, or whatever is going on with them. You know, because you're not taking blood tests because you're healthy. There's something going on with you. So yeah, just an encouragement to people to just, you know, try and sympathize with people, try and empathize with them, and just think about it if it was you who was in the same position or someone who you love who was going through that. How would you want the person to be dealing with them, and go from there. I'm pretty sure most of us wouldn't want to have some bitchy person dealing with you. So yeah, just, you know, just be nice to people.
Fertility is real. The struggle is real, whether you're 20 or whether you're 35 or 50.
Yeah.
So let's just all be more supportive and caring towards each other, and just help each other get through this, because being a woman, I think we have this superpower, and we just need to just surround each other and just lift each other up, and just let everybody know that you're not going through it alone. We all have our own struggles. We all have, you know, just because somebody looks perfect or their life looks perfect doesn't mean it is. You know, with social media, it's all highlight reels, right? So infertility, exactly. And so infertility is real, and we are proof of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if anything happens, if we get some great news, we will share it with you. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Believe me, we mean it. Point blank, if you watch us, you see it. Point blank, tell the Lord Almighty, point blank. When we say it, we speak it.